to scorn when he delivered a stinging rebuke of Trump in 2016, calling him a con man, a fake, and dismissively concluded, "Dishonesty is Donald Trump's hallmark." Democrats were in disbelief when Trump astonished the political world by beating Hillary Clinton, and few were amused when Trump cast aside accepted presidential norms of behavior, or when he was twice impeached, or when the U.S. Capitol was invaded by an angry mob on January 6, 2021. Even now, the threats to our democracy, which many believed would subside after Trump's 2020 defeat, remain. In 2022, nearly 300 Republican nominees for offices with the power to certify future elections either questioned the results of the 2020 election or believed the election was stolen. While many lost, Donald Trump continues to exercise unparalleled power within his own party, even as he is subjected to numerous criminal investigations and indictments. As this is written, Donald J. Trump is the leading contender to win the Republican nod in 2024, something only the defeated Richard M. Nixon achieved in the last 55 years. And Nixon's narrow victory in 1968 was due to the extraordinary circumstances of an unpopular war abroad and racial unrest at home. How did we get here? Some believe that an exhausted conservative agenda that was once revived by Ronald Reagan in 1980 had reached its natural death. Much of what Reagan did as president, enacting tax cuts, slowing the growth rate of federal spending, eliminating government regulations, and positioning the United States to defeat the Soviet Union, a country Reagan derisively referred to as the evil empire, now occupy dog-eared pages in dusty history books. The shop-worn question asked by admirers of the late president, "What would Reagan do?" was no longer relevant. By 2020, the paucity of conservative ideas was such that the grand old party, for the first time in its history, did not write a platform. The emerging issues of climate change, growing economic inequality, and post-Cold War overseas challenges have substantially altered the domestic political agenda. While Americans still distrust government and younger citizens hardly know a time when government worked effectively, when faced with a pandemic, most people wanted government to do more. Joe Biden ascended to the presidency, determined to make government work again. At the same time, the Reagan coalition, evangelical, white, married, middle class, and suburban, was eroding thanks to a multiracial, less religiously affiliated country whose younger voters cast ballots in even larger numbers for Democratic candidates. The white middle-class suburban Republican majority that gave Dwight D. Eisenhower, Richard M. Nixon, and Ronald Reagan historic landslide victories could no longer deliver. Just as Democrats celebrated Franklin D. Roosevelt and the New Deal long after their expiration dates, in 2016 Republicans were still honoring a deceased president and a tiresome agenda. Donald Trump saw the vacuum and filled it. In 1844, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote that in the United States, the Conservative Party, composed of the most moderate, able, and cultivated part of the population, is timid and merely defensive of property. It vindicates no right, it aspires to no real good, it brands no crime, it proposes no generous policy, it does not build, nor write, nor cherish the arts, nor foster religion, nor establish schools, nor encourage science, nor emancipate the slave, nor befriend the poor, or the Indian, or the immigrant. For Emerson, conservatives were a party of memory, enamored with the romanticism of the past and determined to preserve it. Liberals, said Emerson, had no such devotion, but instead were a party of hope. Freed from the constrictions of memory, they could inspire their followers to pursue new horizons and revolutionary beginnings. Emerson believed that while the best men were often found in a conservative movement, the best causes were those espoused by unshackled liberals. Political parties thrive when they embody both memory and hope. For Republicans, Ronald Reagan is the preeminent example of a successful politician who did both. Reagan summoned the happy memories of a prosperous and contented post-World War II era, a country bursting with energy, and an economic colossus whose city dwellers were boarding station wagons and moving into spanking